Hello gentlemen, in this video we are going to be discussing a paradox. The paradox is something that I have suffered with myself. I say suffered with, when you really look at it, can be a bit of a good thing, but you also need to control it. The paradox I'm referring to, I haven't really put a name to it, but you will find this eventually, especially if you're a young guy that's trying to do great at business, get good with girls, improve your financial situation, improve your relationships, build a good physique, whatever it is, guys. You're gonna find this in any area of improvement. Let me give you an example though to first this video off, because it'd probably be a bit more helpful than me rambling on. After lockdown, I was 117 kilograms in weight, and I was about 14, 15 years old, I think, at the end of COVID-19, the whole lockdown period. And I was 117 kilos. I was a fat, misshapen piece of clay, right? So, I had a good sort of friend group. They weren't very high quality. I don't speak to any of them now. There's a few girls in this friend group. And I remember I was friends with them, but I was a bit shy. I was a nice guy. We were friends, right? As much as I wanted to build up the aggressiveness and the confidence to be ruthless and go, hey, can I get your Instagram? I'd love to go out sometime. That never happened. And it got to a point where we'd go out and we'd drink alcohol, we'd smoke weed, and I'd always come back and I'd just have this really dawning sense of dread and horror, that I'd be lonely for the rest of my life. Obviously, that's not true. As I improved, as I've gone out clubbing or approached girls in cafes or approached girls in the gym or used dating apps, got good with girls, got good at building relationships, that has proved itself to be false. That's also come with building up my physique, improving my financial situation, my life setup. But that dawning sense of dread, that hasn't stopped, by the way. That hasn't stopped. I still get that in many areas of my life, but I think it's a very good thing. I love that feeling of dread and negativity. I guess you could describe it as like periods of depression. It doesn't feel like that for me now. I still get that feeling, but it's a good thing, and that's where I thrive. And I'm a strong believer that any human being, not just guys, anyone that improves yourself, those negative feelings are very effective tools for sort of trying to work as hard as possible. And back then it was the worst feeling in the world, but now I get a lot of fulfillment from it. And I think I really realized that when I worked as a chef. When I worked as a head chef and I would get these really anxious feelings, and that would actually be the adrenaline I needed to get myself through the night and actually thrive in that kind of environment. Back then, when I was working in hospitality, those feelings, oh my god, unexplainable. The cortisol, I know cortisol is not good for inflammation or testosterone or anything, but man, it taught me a lot. And that is, us guys, we do thrive in that kind of thing. Like, think about gladiators or any sort of soldier in history. They were a lot more stressed than us, but it did teach me a big lesson. I work in a industry where it's very high pressure still. In property, people working with a lot of money, there's a lot on the line. Every day I get shouted at, but I'm very good at staying calm. I always sort of have been. That's helped me with boxing, that has helped me in business. But yeah, I wanted to say that. But here's the paradox. When you do get good with girls, or I'm just using girls as an example, but it goes for everything. I'll give a couple more examples. But when you do get good with girls, because you put the work in with your physique, the social skills, and you're not going clubbing, you get a bit too excited and you're like, wow, what is this? It's like a drug. It's like this huge amount of adrenaline and dopamine. What is this? What has changed? I'm the fucking guy. You end up going clubbing every weekend. You're out going on dates all the time. So you end up spending loads of money. You end up getting a bit of a puffier face. You end up putting weight on. Like, not to say you're going to get to a point where you start again from your journey, but you certainly will be a lot worse off than when you put all that work in the first place, right? So that is just my point. That's a paradox, and that's not the trap you want to fall in. This video is about balance. This whole channel is about balance. I'm not saying sacrifice all your 20s and 30s. All I'm saying is, to fix this paradox and this whole cycle, you are going to have certain periods within your life where you are going to have to lock in for fixed amounts of time at a time. So, but yeah, I just want to make the point that, another point, which is important to get out there, that you're going to have, we've all got trajectories in our life. We all have cause and effects. So each cause has an effect. Each effect also has an effect, which is the butterfly effect. So if I say, if I smoked a joint as a kid, like it's my first ever time doing that, oh wow, this feels great. And then the next weekend I end up doing it again. Then it might be 3 weeks till I do it again. And I've seen this, unfortunately. Eventually, I'm a guy who's 24. I'm now doing coke, and I've actually moved on to doing other things. My nose is a bit fucked. I've ended up losing loads of weight. I'm doing cocaine. I'm spending all my money on coke. I'm not eating properly, and my life's fucked. Like, there are irreversible damages I've done to my body. Like, that's a very serious example. But yeah, that is unfortunately, at my age, that's something I've seen friends of mine from back in the day actually go through. But also, like myself, like, I'm not trying to sound better than anyone in any way. This is just an example. Going to the gym each and every day. Like, when I've had a really, really hard workout, like boxing, for example, like, there are certain workouts that like just do something to you, where your coach has pushed you so deep, and it gives you a literal shift in your identity. And that was another example, and that identity has been brought into each time I've lifted a dumbbell in the gym. And I also constantly think back to that when I'm going for a run, and suddenly 2 years later I've got loads of muscle and I'm more ripped than I've ever been. But that's just another mindset I wanted to give you guys. It is little and is minuscule, and like, as small as the action might seem, they've all got very huge effects, no matter how small the action initially was. So remember that. But how do you actually break the paradox that I referred to in this video? It is just saying, okay, for the next month, I'm cutting all the crap out. I'm not going to be doing anything like destructive. I'm not going to go out to London. I'm not going to drink any alcohol. I'm not going to go out clubbing. If I want to find that balance and go approach girls and do a bit of work, I'm just going to go to a cafe. I'm not going to use any social media. I'm just going to use WhatsApp. I'm not going to drink any alcohol. This is a given, guys. You shouldn't be doing this anyway. But I'm not going to be watching any porn. I'm not going to eat any junk food. I'm going to eat extremely clean. That is literally how you break yourself out of the cycle. Step one is actually identifying that this is becoming a bit of a pattern. You're actually sort of stuck in a negative trajectory right now. And step two is saying, okay, for the next month, we are going to break that trajectory. So, it's a short video, guys, but I think it's an important one. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram if you've got any questions. This is one that I've wanted to make for quite a while. It's potentially something I'm willing to talk a bit more deeply on, especially with the cause and effect stuff. But break the paradox, guys. Go ahead, get the hard work done, and do as many positive actions as possible.